listening to the Microprose podcast. In this episode, we'll be chatting about B-17 Flying Fortress, the bloody 100th board game, with some of the game designers from Etherfield Studio.
Hello and welcome back to the Microprose podcast. Today we have three special guests from Etherfield Studio who are here to invite players to step into the boots of a World War II bomber crew. B-17 Flying Fortress, the bloody 100th board game edition.
A tabletop world of tactical metal and communication under fire, which Etherfield Studio have created in partnership with Microprose. Lajos Tihanyi is the lead designer at Etherfield Studio. He is a creative by profession and an incurable dreamer at heart. He holds degrees in arts and computer science and is also a fine arts theorist who has studied graphic design. His professional experiences include serving as a project manager, web designer, and junior art director, among other roles, all while working on analog and digital games as side projects. He is currently doing what he's always wanted to do: develop games. Dávid Csobay works as a writer and designer for Etherfield Studios. He also works as a translator, as quality controller in state subsidies, and as a bartender for fun. He has an MA in literature and linguistics and also studied cultural anthropology and religion. David is the introvert amongst extroverts, and the other way around. He has a passion for good reads and for good chats in pubs. György Péchy is a producer and project manager at Etherfield Studio. He brings over 20 years of experience in IT, animation, cultural projects, and game development. His earlier work as a YouTube specialist brought valuable insight into digital media and audience engagement. As a game producer, he's dedicated to fostering collaboration and bringing creative visions to life.
With their powers combined, Etherfield Studio have created B-17 Flying Fortress, the bloody 100 board game edition.
Welcome to the podcast.
Hi there. Hello. Thanks for having us.
Welcome. So what first inspired you to create B-17 Flying Fortress, the bloody 100th?
The background of our inspiration started as a commission from Microprose. Microprose created a lot of fun games in this genre, like the B-17 Flying Fortress and the Mighty Eighth and so on and so on. This was the first point when we started to work on the project. But as we progressed and as we delved into the historical part of the bomber and the crew and the plane itself, which is a miracle in itself, we started to believe that's a much deeper understanding of the bomber's crew, and later on became the inspiration for the game.
Nice. So what other games have you designed, and how did your experience from those shape this one?
Our first game as a group, as Etherfield together, as a development team, is Drop System Breach, which is really far from board games and from bombers, which is a tactical action hacker game. It's like a cyberpunk cinema game. And we had a lot of experience with digital development before that as well, and role-playing game development as well, which is kind of similar in this creative industry in many, many ways. So that was our first published game, and we tried to build our previous experiences with board games and role-playing games to build into this board game with the B-17 bomber.
Can you walk us through the earliest days of the game's development? Was it a passion project that evolved, or was Etherfield always planning to tell this story?
As we started to work on this project, it was a cooperation with Microprose. The source of this game is their B-17 Flying Fortress PC game. It's a digital game. So first we had to play with that game a lot and analyze that game. Of course, we played the original version back in the days, so it was quite interesting to get back those memories as adults, and we tried to get back to the same feeling and same experience as we had before, but in a professional way this time. So we tried to examine how these planes worked, how the crew worked together, and then based on all our experiences, we pitched several ideas to Microprose. I think there were 3 or 4 different versions of this board game. Each of these versions, the plot and the focus of these pitches was a little bit different. And then with Microprose together, we choose the one we felt that would be the best way to put that PC game into a board game.
Etherfield's stated goal is to create games that stay with players long after the game ends. What about the bloody 100th do you think achieves that?
First of all, I think anyone who loves corporate gaming and is interested in World War II games and likes action-packed board games, they will love this game. The main strength of the game is the mission events, which are randomly generated from different decks. Each mission will be completely different with different challenges. We have thousands of hours in testing, and we didn't run into the same mission once. And we structured the game that it becomes more and more challenging in the campaign mode. So once you start a campaign, the first mission will be relatively easy. In the end, you will be lucky if you get back with your plane and with all your crews intact. So during all the missions, the whole team controls the game and how they develop during the missions. And based on our test game experiences, different players remember different missions and situations, but it was always like remembering a good movie experience. Once they get back into the airfield with the plane intact, but the other time their ball turret gets blown off, and that's made the mission completely different and more difficult. So there are a lot of situations where the board game players will find it really movie-like experience.
We had these test groups after playing the sessions. Even after a week or so, they recollected some events from earlier games, like, oh, that was a fun thing when the engine was blown off and things like that. So it creates memories with players.
It says a lot about the narrative strength of the game that you're able to create that reaction in players.
I'm not sure if it's a narrative strength we created. I think it's a narrative strength of the B-17 bomber thing, flying through the clouds and then delivering a bomb and fighting aces is really a thing that people remember. And I think that they have now the chance to live through it.
Beyond the historical setting and themes, what part of the game are you personally most proud of?
I think the best part of the game is the random mission generation, because it keeps the game exciting in every mission. Every mission is different. Our game is a rather complex game, but also with the rule sets, it doesn't become too complicated. We try to show every aspect of B-17 life, from takeoff to the life of the bomber crew and the bombing and the landing. And we try to put everything into this game without being too complicated. And I think we succeeded with that.
How does the game handle solo play? Is it manageable for one player, or is there a lot to juggle?
Solo play is usually a lot to juggle. I think we did a good job here, so it's not that difficult as in other games. This is a cooperative game. It's 1 to 4 players, and you manage a total crew of 10 airmen. And when you are playing 4, you have to coordinate between yourselves. And when you play alone, you don't have to coordinate, but you have to make all the decisions. So I think it's not difficult, really.
Can you simplify the core gameplay for those curious about how a typical mission actually unfolds?
The core gameplay is the bomber is flying through 9 stages of the mission. 9 stages of the mission are from takeoff to landing, and in the middle there's the bombing run. On top of the board, you have 9 stacks with mission cards. So the players draw from these mission stacks the cards that represent the events and the threats in the mission. These can be weather, or these can be enemy fighters or flak bombardment. So these mission cards are played. They deliver their effects, and then the crew has to respond to these, trying to solve the issues, shooting down enemy fighters or evading flak or repair damages and stuff. So first the mission unfolds, then the crew reacts, and then again the mission, then again the crew, through 9 stages. Each stage is around 3 turns, so it's basically around 30 turns that you have to play.
We try to simulate a lot of combat situations in the air and on the ground as well. But the basic mechanics are coherent and straightforward. So with a little bit of practice, it's really easy to understand and really easy to play.
The game lists 1 to 4 players and emphasizes cooperative play. How are the turns structured, and will solo players find it as satisfying as those playing with a full crew?
Solo players will do the same things as a full crew. Basically, you have a crew of 10 airmen on board, and whether you play it alone or with 3 friends, you have to manage the same 10 crewmen, and you have to do all directions. So every single turn of the game, the 10 crewmen do 10 actions and move 10 times. You can always opt not to act with one, but you have the same actions in all turns, whether you are 1, whether you are 4. The crewmen are grouped in 4 sections, being the nose of the bomber, the flight deck, the middle section, and the tail section. And so when you play 4, you manage a section. And each of these sections have special roles, and they have there are special points in the game where they have the limelight. The nose does the bombing and also the navigation. Yes. The tail does the gunnery, defending. So the tail has a role in air fights. So 4 players will have phases in the game when you are in the center. And if you play around, you are always in the center, but in different roles. At the start of the game, you have to mainly focus on flight deck actions. Also, in the bombing run at the center of the game, you have to focus on nose section. So it's going to be as fun as with friends. You have 4 sections with 10 crewmen, and if you play 4, we emphasize that you need to communicate between yourselves and need to be a crew as players. If the tail section wishes to shoot down some enemy fighters, then they probably need to tell the flight deck to move in a certain way.
Just like you would in real life, I guess.
Yeah. So if you are the kind of guy who likes to cooperate with your friends, then team play is going to be fun. And if you are the kind of introvert, then a solo play is going to be fun.
You've got both extroverts and introverts in your team. So it seems like in the design process, you probably spent a lot of time talking about the different types of play styles that different players have and how each of those play styles can be encapsulated in one game. Is that more or less how you went about things?
Yeah, that's correct. Also, we are very lucky that we have a good entourage of people. So the test players came from among friends, and we have a good collection of people with many different play styles and tastes. So it was really helpful for us.
Oh, that's good to hear. The title, The Bloody 100th, carries enormous historical weight. How did you approach creating a respectful game about such a harrowing part of history while still keeping it engaging?
Games with the historical background, always the hardest part is to find the balance between complexity and playability. We wanted to have it all, like have everything about the B-17 right, and also to create a very enjoyable and playable game. So we, mostly Lajos, study the plane and the historical parts very carefully. I mean, hundreds of hours just to find out how the game interior looks, where are the bolts, where are the sections. We read about the crew, how they managed to work on the plane together, how those missions historically took place. So we try to incorporate all of these things to this game, but of course, we had to make compromises because it would be impossible to put everything into this game. Of course, we could do that, but in the end, that would mean that only 2 or 3 people in the world wanted to play with this game.
Yeah, we didn't want to make a hardcore game or a hardcore simulation.
It's more like a cinematic version of the historical facts. If we wanted to stick to history, the ball cannon operator couldn't move at all because he was trapped into a very tiny place during the whole mission, and he couldn't do anything but fire the cannon. And we wanted to make it a little bit more fun. So the ball cannon operator in our game can move because it makes it enjoyable. It's not just more accessible to a wider audience, but at the same time, it's respectful to the subject, which I think is really important, because there might be a lot of players who are interested in being respectful because one of their grandparents flown on these planes or something like that. And we communicated all these things in the rulebook. And in the rulebook, we add some additional texts, which are also part of the history. So you can also learn how these planes worked and how the crew worked together just by reading our rulebook.
We got some material from the 100th Bomb Group Foundation through Microprose, and it really helped us connect this thing to real people. I mean, we are in Hungary. We've been Axis in the war. We do not have a first contact with B-17, but through the material that we got from Microprose, from the 100th Bomb Foundation, it helped us really find touch with the B-17 thing. And we also Googled around and made our research on the internet. And it's really a wonder of mechanical engineering, I think. And then what we read about the cruise, it's really a wonder of disciplining people. And when you are a few thousand feet in the air in a can, really, you have to rely on your comrades, and these stories are really inspiring for us. So that's why we wanted to show in the game. We do have German friends, and we know them; they are good people. So we wanted to show in the book that it's the idea that is the enemy and not the people. So we included in the book some things that show that even German soldiers were people, and they did what they had to do. It's not necessary that they were evil. So we wanted war is an evil thing, and we wanted to show that even in war, there are good things. That's what's important for me.
Is there anything in particular you'd like to mention before we go?
We did not know before we did our research, but there was a song, Lili Marleen, which was a German song, and the German radio played it every evening. And it was so popular. The Allies also listened to the Axis radio. And this Lili Marleen was so popular, even with Allied soldiers, that everyone knew it in the war, it seems. It was really a good find to see that even in war, even when you're killing each other, you are the same people, and then there is some camaraderie between enemies as well.
That's actually really touching. Would you mind sending me a link to that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add that we are really grateful for Microprose giving us the chance to develop this game. We had a lot of fun. We learned a lot. So that was a really interesting experience, and we do hope that the players will see in the game as well. And of course, we have to thank the Hundreds Bomb Group Foundation as well, because they provided excellent materials for this game. We used a lot of their stuff to go on and to research the material deeply. And of course, I just want to mention that we are just 3 of us sitting here right now, but there were nearly 20 people who worked on this project, from the graphic design section through art to all the testers. So we are really grateful for them as well for their work. And it was also really great to see this project on Kickstarter. And we are really thankful for all the backers. Without them, it would be nothing. So we are really thankful for them as well. And I hope there will be more people, because there are some more days left in the campaign. And everyone will receive their game next year, and they will be really happy about that. And they will play a lot.
I'd also like to thank the backers, not only for the backing, but also for the ideas they give, and for all the questions. And thank you for all.
To the entire Etherfield team, thank you so much for bringing this game into the world. And to the 3 of you that are here with us now, thank you so much for the chat today, and all the best with this game and all of your future games.
Thank you.
And thank you.
B-17 Flying Fortress, the Bloody 100th, is available now on Kickstarter.
But not for much longer, so if you want it, you'd better be quick.
That's all from us today. The Microprose podcast will return next month,
or maybe sooner,
for more exclusive interviews, gaming news, and mystery segments.
For more information about B-17 Flying Fortress, the Bloody 100th board game, head to Kickstarter or microprose.com.
And endgame.